All right, so my recording is on. So let me quickly gives you idea about what we discussed. So things will get captured into our recording, and people who joined just now, they will also get this idea. Well, so I was talking about today we are going to start with the visualization technique, and in that we are going to create our first visualization now. So let me create some very quick visualizations. So I'm going to create a bar chart. Okay, so let us see. I'm going to create a bar chart for all my categories. So like I want to see my category sales for all my category sales, and I want to put them onto bar chart. So I select my categories and sales, and after selecting these two, see the one way is like you can drag and drop on this rows and columns self. So for example, I did like this, and I can just put them onto columns. So that way also I can create my bar chart. But then even if you don't want to do that, Tableau will also do it by itself. So for example, when I select categories and when I select sales by pressing control, now I will click show me, and I'll choose click this bar chart, and I will get my bar chart. So Tableau understand you wanted to create bar chart.
Ritesh,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I want to ask, sometimes we put the measure in column rows to make some diagram or some to make some bar graph. But we have seen in our last class, we have put the measures in labels, in text, in mark plane. How can we define that we have to put the measure in sometimes in label and sometimes in column?
Yeah, I'm just going to talk about that. Your all confusion will go away. So just give me time to let me explain this to you. See, this whole using these marks, we can change the configuration of the chart. Okay, there are a lot of options that we have on the marks. Using this, we can create lots of configurations, and these are like not necessary that every time we are going to use all of them. Depending upon the different chart items, different chart techniques, we are going to use in a different way. So for example, now I got my bar chart. Now if I want to put the label on this bar chart, so here I will click label, and I can just check this show marks label. Okay, another way of showing the same things is like here we have something called T, show mark label. So this T is nothing but the same things. If I just click here, this also will provide me the labels, and this labels is that means the number, this bar chart nothing representing this 742,000, right? This is the length of the bar depending upon the numbers values. Now if you want to show the number also along with this bar, you can just turn on the label and this number will start showing along with this bar. Okay, and now I was just saying, if you want to swap this, then the behavior of these rows and columns will change. Now categories was sitting on rows is gone to columns, and from cells from column came down to rows. So this way, this the position of this chart change. Now from the horizontal, it's turned out to a vertical things. So let me give you idea about this horizontal columns and rows. So this columns and rows nothing but it has the same characteristic what we have learned, what we know from the Excel. So all these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 that you see, these lines are rows. These lines are rows and rows are horizontal. Okay, so all these horizontal lines are called rows, and all these vertical lines are called column. Okay, columns are vertical. So you see, so A, B, C, D, all these are alphabetical things are called columns. Okay, this is the column B, this is column C, this is column D, this is column E, and so on. And this is row 1, this is row 2, this is row 3. Okay, this is row 3 and this is row 4. So these are my rows. So if I say rows, you see this is the horizontal things I'm selecting. When I say column, I'm selecting a vertical things. So same logic applies to Tableau worksheet also. Here we have things called column, here we have things called row. So let me uh, show you here. So for example, here you see drop field here. So this is nothing but your rows, okay? And drop field here, this is nothing but your columns. So you want to put some configure, you want to change the configuration of the behavior and you want to make a vertical things, then you will drop here. When you drop fields here, so for example, let's say I'm dropping my um, categories. Yeah. So when I drop my categories here, see, this will go to column, right? It's gone sit to columns. When I come to cells, and when I come to cells, and here we had rows, right? When I come to here, and if I drop it here, okay, so because that rows characteristic we are not able to see here, so but then we can click here. So so that will go and sit on the rows. So since you are putting your columns categories on the columns, so that means you want to create a columns bar chart because category you have put on the column. So now you see this is the columns. Okay, this is coming as a vertical. All these three categories are sitting on the vertical positions, right? Because I put on the columns. So columns are the vertical things, right? And the rows are the horizontal things. So now uh, cells are going sitting on the rows. So it's actually not it's actually going to provide basis on my category. So because cells is nothing but my aggregation, right? It's a measures. So measures, the nature of measures only to become only to use for the aggregation. So basically I'm not nothing I'm putting here. I mean, what I mean to say, I'm not going to put something on the row on the horizontal, but basically I'm doing aggregations. So for example, if I have to show something on the rows, maybe I have to choose some dimensions and put on the rows. So I don't know how it will come, but let me show you and put something here. So now you see that reasons are coming my horizontal, right? So this is my setting on the rows. You see here. So central is one horizontal rows, east is one horizontal rows, south is one horizontal rows, west is one horizontal rows, and my categories are on the column. So categories are into my vertical position. So furniture, office supplies, and technology. Okay, and sales. The nature of sales only to it has to be used only for the aggregation. Aggregation means either sum, minimum, maximum, count, average, etc. So that is like a mathematical operation will have execute on the measures. Measures is not your dimensions, so dimensions will only comes as a rows or a columns, but measures will not go as a rows or columns. So nature of measure, even if I put uh, measures on the rows, it will only being aggregated corresponding to my categories columns and corresponding to reasons which is on the rows. So you understand the configure the layout of rows and column position you are going to use only for your dimensions. Okay, so you on the dimensions, if you put on the columns or rows accordingly, that you know their position will change. Okay, you can make it vertical or you can make it horizontal. So basis on wherever you have put, accordingly it will happen. So for example, if I put reasons on the column, so you see what will happen underneath each these categories, again I will get the vertical reasons. So you see here, so now you see underneath both are in my vertical position. So furniture is also vertical, and my underneath furnitures each four regions are coming. Central is south, west. So all these four are coming, and it's giving me you know four reasons for furnitures, four reasons for office supplies, and four reasons for technologies. So that is how we can change the layout. So changing this layout, this you can drag your dimensions and put on columns and rows. Basis on your dimensions positions on the columns and rows, this layout will change. Okay, so now you see here I just created both on the columns and both are coming in a vertical positions. But now when I drag and put on the rows, now I'm getting a you know into one into columns wise and one by the rows wise. So you can see I'm getting four rows for each of this region, and corresponding to each regions I'm getting three vertical columns, and this is my vertical bar chart, and this is my horizontal regions, right? So however you want, now it's your choice, you can do it accordingly. For me, I think this looks better because here it's easy for me to make a comparison because all are sitting side by side. So I can look at this furniture and I can look at the reasons across these furnitures, across office supplies and across technology. Okay, so now it's all up to you. However you want, you can do it. And you can correlate with this Excel things. So this is a vertical columns. Columns are always vertical and rows are always horizontal. Okay, so that is what it's all about. So any questions in rows and column? Is it clear or any questions you have? You can ask me now before I do because I don't want to keep doubt pending and and just moving on. So if it is clear, then I will move to the next chart. So that is how our bar chart, actually we can create a bar chart. Okay. Now using that label, I will show you on this label, I can
Quick
bring,
question.
yeah, please.
Ritesh, over here on your rows, there's a sum of cells. So automatically it is taking the function, I mean, some function it is using over here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. So, what if I wanted to change it to like difference or
Yeah,
count
sure.
or
Yeah. So here we have options. You see, you right click this measures. Okay. Here you can see that drop up option is showing. You right click here and see you're getting so many options. So let me tell you about. So one thing you can create a filter on the cells on the measure itself if you need it, but I think I don't need to create a filter on the measure itself. Maybe it's good idea to create a filter on the dimensions and you can do some number formatting and you have your show header. So so by default I wanted to show the header for the sums, for the measures, but I can turn off also. When I turn off, see what happened. Okay, so
so
that
that
the
access.
axis is going off. So that that because this axis on the y-axis, basically this is nothing but my sales number, right? So it's showing the range of my sales. It start from 0 and going the maximum up to 250,000. Okay, so that axis will be showing. So if you want to off this axis, maybe you can use that show header. You can uncheck this show header and these things will go away. Okay, and when you want to turn this on, you can click show header and this will turn on. I wanted to have this my axis because that's when people can understand what is the range for this sales, right? Yeah, any question someone was asking? I'm coming to your questions. You said how I can change these measures from sum to average or something like that. Okay, so again, by clicking here, you see here measures, sums. Here we have different mathematical operators, right? Sum, average, median, count distincts, minimum, maximum, percentile, standard deviation, variance, etc. A lot of options we have. So if you want to change from sum to average, you just click here. And by default now Tableau is showing the average of average sales across each four regions underneath three categories: furniture, office supplies, and technology. When I do that, now it's 340.5. This is my average sales. So in central, most of my individual sales was about 340. Okay, and this 346, 353, and 357. So now this is into order. So you can see ascending order. So you can see west where the average sales was high in west. So that's how you can see average sales for across these four regions underneath each of my categories. So even if you want to, like, let's say count of the total uh, order, count of the total sales, so you can look at the count of total sales, how many cells happens, that you can see the count. And if you want to see the distinct count, then you can see the distinct count. So that cells value uh, only now it is only looking at the distinct sales value. So for example, let's say two sales has happened for 500 rupees. So Rohit has also purchased for 500 and Vaibhav has also purchased for 500. So in that case, it will be counting just 500 one time. It won't count twice because it is only looking at the measure at the field called sales and only looking at the distinct value in sales. So having count D for sales is not a good idea because it doesn't mean that it's just one transactions. No, because this maybe different customer will purchase for the same amount. That is very much possible. So instead of that, maybe the count is more accurate things. That is giving me total number of sales that happen across each four regions. Okay, so there are like going to measures, you can change whatever you want. Okay, and the standard deviations, variance, etc. Uh, it's okay. So that I will come to some when I will talk about the calculations in detail, because here it doesn't make much sense to have all these things. Okay, minimum, maximum, etc. So we have a separate dedicated sessions. Once we'll complete this chart technique, then we'll understand about the Tableau calculations. There I'm going to cover each of this. Okay, so for now you can just understand here you have options and you can choose from here. Any questions?
Ritesh sir, what is that? Yeah, Ritesh sir, what is that dimension and attribute?
Dimensions and attribute.
Yeah,
Where did
yeah,
you?
which you can see, yeah, in the same some sales and in the drop down. Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
Dimension and attribute.
Yeah. So okay. So you see that attribute, I will, that attribute is nothing but ATTR functions. I will talk about this later. So for now, you just don't worry about, because attribute is not something that we are going to put on the measures, but then the options are here and the dimensions when you want to convert your measures to dimensions. Okay. I'll use this use cases later, but for now, uh, if I let me show here. So now the moment when I put that into dimensions, you know what happened? Now the behavior of the cells will just become like behavior of these dimensions. These are my dimensions. And like I said, dimensions are your distinct items, right? That the item with which you can count. Okay, by default, the nature of measures are continuous. So continuous, when we can create some visualization only on continuous, we cannot create visualizations. I mean that line graph or bar chart, etc. on a dimensions, right? We have to have this measures. So see, the moment I select these dimensions, this measures has it has taken away from the measures, right? There is no measures being selected. The measures summations is gone away because I cannot go and apply a measures actions or measure functions on a dimensions. Dimensions are your categorical fields, okay? And the numbers are not your categorical field. Numbers are your measure which you want to apply some mathematical function over there. I cannot go and apply mathematical functions sum on the categories. Maybe I want to sum categories. I want to sum it by some measures which represents my categories, right? So my categories are dimensions, and for categories I have done some sales. So now I my purpose is to sum the sales for each of categories. So I'm using that. But then there are some instances where you know you actually need to convert to dimension. I will be using some I will use this use cases now itself and show you when there are instances where actually you need to convert your measures to dimensions. Okay, so maybe let me show you here, since you have asked this question now, so let me tell you now itself. So let me show you. There are some instances where, like, say, you have month value and your month value is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, and 12. Okay, your month values are like that, and then you have some sales value. I'm just going to create some randomly values, whatever it is. Okay, I'll just copy it. Okay, so imagine now if I'm going to create a visualizations on this two field, what will happen? Tableau will not understand this is your month. Tableau will understand this is your measures because it has numbers, right? If you are putting into date format, for example, if you put into this format, so this is my date format where I have date, months, and year, right? If I'm going to put into this format, if my month is into this format, like this date format, then Tableau will understand, hey, this is a date field, and it creates a date. It will provide a date characteristic to this field, and the operation will happen for the date field because, like we learn about the data types. So we have the different data types family into Tableaus. So accordingly, the functions will change. But since here in our data we are not providing as a date value, we just have this monthly numbers. So in that case, when you bring this data into Tableau, Tableau will treat this as a numbers, as a measure. So all numbers are measures, right? So this is a number, so Tableau will treat this as a measure. But then we want to treat this as a date, as a distinct date, right? As a distinct month actually. So let us see. Let me bring this data. Let me save this, and let me load this into Tableau, and let me show this how these things happens. Okay, I'm just going to put that month as measure example, so I can understand where is my data. So let me go to file and sorry, data, and data. Here we have new data source. Now I can go to Excels, and I'll point out my Excel file. Yeah, so this is my file which I created. Let me load this. Okay, so let me go to a new sheet. Okay, now let me, it's being loading. So yeah, yeah. So you can see that it has already loaded sheet 1 here, and I can see my month's value and sales value. So you see here the data type, what Tableau treats it, number, right? I I shown you all measures are represented by hash. Hash symbol is the sign of numbers, right? So Tableau is treating this as a numbers rather than my month. It doesn't understand automatically if it is a month because then looking at the nature of data, it's identify what data type it's belong to. So both are numbers. Month here in month field, I have taken all numbers. In sales fields, I have taken all numbers. So Tableau is treating both as a number. But then let me go to sheet, open a sheet, and yeah, I am on the sheet 1. Now let me show you. Let me bring that month on the column. See what happened. Now Tableau, see the green color. So green colors represent a continuous field or a measure. So even your date, okay, so here let me tell you one thing. Date can be continuous also and distinct also. Okay, date has a dual characteristic. I can convert to by default when you want to create all dates, all data point from the date, then obviously you will observe that we'll always have a date field as a continuous, but then numbers are also continuous. And let me bring my cells here. So now you see that. So now it's actually putting 1, 2, 3. So this is fine. This is good. But then because it understands that. But then if I just have my let's say my month value here. So here this month values are showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me. Okay, because here it has put that as a dimension. So this is a 2020. It's very smart. If I go and turn this, so now you see that months are coming like this because this is the numbers. Okay, this is the numbers. So sum of month is giving me, but then I don't have to use the sum of month, the measure functions. I have to convert this as a dimensions because I wanted to get the distinct elements from this month field, each of them separately. So when I want to fetch out the distinct element from this month field, so I can choose month and dimension. So now you see all my now all my separate element, all my separate months, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. up to 12. Everything I'm getting right here. Okay, so now it's easy for me to create a line chart or a bar chart, whatever that I want. So it's line chart. Maybe I can turn it to, since it is month, right? It is corresponding to each month, so it's creating a line chart, right? So yeah, so that's how I need to provide. So now you see that month there is no aggregations, no sum, no average, no count, etc. because it is into setting by default. Tableau has understand it. It is 2020, so it's advanced and smart, and it has this understand. Hey, there it looks like this is a dimension, and it has chosen dimension instead of measures. See, it has taken sales as a measure, but it has not taken month as a measure. But then if I do that as a measures, now you see, now it's created a scattered plot. Since because we are looking at this measures and this measure relationship and this relationship, I will talk about this scattered plot in a moment when I will finish all these things. But now I don't want this to treat month to treat as a measures. I want to treat as a dimensions because, like I said, nature of dimensions are distinct. Okay, so each single element of the dimensions I want to aggregate my measures value by each single element of dimensions. Okay, so your dimension are all your categorical fields. So let's say I have category, subcategory, product, dimensions in my data. All those are your dimensions, and all the numbers are your measures. Here, this month actually, because the data is coming like that, where I do not have clear months, I just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 12. So Tableau will not understand in the prior version. Tableau will not understand whether it's dimensions. So it will treat as a measures, and you cannot get this chart. But then in that way, you can just change it to dimensions, and now you see that it's treating as a dimensions, and each single values from the month it's representing on x-axis. Okay, so that is your characteristic of this dimensions. I hope it's clear. Still, if you have questions, you can ask more questions here, so we can discuss more.
Ritesh, I have one question here.
Yeah,
Can you go back to the previous screen where you were showing that bar graph?
yeah, sure, yeah,
So, Ritesh, I have just question here that you are calculating the sum of sales on basis of the region part, right?
yeah. Reason and category both.
Region and category board.
Yeah,
So, I just want to do a confirmation that the bar graph which is showing here is correct or not. So, whether sometimes my calculation will go wrong around. Okay, so I just want to check the cross verify that yes, my bar graph which is showing here is correct. So how we can do that?
okay, perfect. So I think it's a good questions. So you know what? We are not writing any calculated field, let me tell you. There is no second thought about it of going wrong, because we are not writing any logic from our side. We are not supplying any logic, any formula, any calculated field for particularly this bar chart right here on my screen. You see what I did? I just drag the dimensions and the measures and I put it and I configured them on rows and columns. Okay, and I got this bar chart. So now the Tableau itself aggregating sum of cells for each of these regions and categories. Okay, there is no second thought about it can go wrong. Maybe what you can do, you can come here and you can look at the text tables. If you look at the text table, you will see that numbers now the same number what we had at the bar chart, same number it's showing on this text table. So in this text table, you can see for central furniture 163,000, central office supplies 167,000, central technologies 170,000. For furniture east 208,000, for office supplies east 205,000, and for technology east is 264,000, and so on. So this is the one way you can look at the text table and you can see, hey, how much numbers are coming. But then having said that, we are not doing any aggregation. We are not supplying some calculated field or some logic from our side. So maybe your logic, your calculated field can go wrong. But when Tableau itself is doing that, there is no way that it can go wrong. It will always give you the same numbers what you had in text table. The same number will be coming right here. So for example, to confirm that, to validate that, let me create a duplicate sheet, same duplicate sheet. And now here, I'm just turning this to text table. And now you compare this. So for example, central furniture, you have 163,000. So come to this sheet and look at central furniture, 163,000, right? 163,797, right? Same value you have here. Central furniture, 163,000, 163,797. Again, let's check for Technology West, 251,000, 251,992 precisely. To be precisely, it's 251,992 Technology Office Supplies. Okay, now look at here, Technology West. You can see this bar 251,992. So there is no way it can go wrong because we are not doing any calculated field right here. We are just bringing that measures and dimension on this. So it will always give you the accurate unless your data itself is wrong. Okay, so now
Okay.
the question can be, you can ask about data, but you cannot ask about this visualizations.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah. So, Ritesh, you're using the same sheet with that superstore. This one is a
exactly.
superstore, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I have a question here. So when we are joining in superstore, we have, I think we have three sheets, right? Order,
Yeah,
return, and
yeah,
sales,
yeah.
right? So when we are joining with orders with order sheet with the return sheet,
Okay.
okay. So when we are joining it, then I'm not getting the join data because so suppose we are joining in a SQL part, so I will be getting both the columns, right? The order columns and the sheet and the return column in one sheet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can get it. So I have not done this joining. So let me go to data source here. Okay, let me go to data source here and show you that. Just give me a moment. Okay, so this is my order. When I want to also analyze my return, so I can just do that. Basis of the order, this join has performed.
Yeah.
Now it's loading. Okay, now come to a new sheet and see what happened. See, I'm getting my returns also, right? See, my return, this is my return table, okay,
Mhm.
coming from after joining. When I join, see, that is what the characteristic of cross database join. So in cross database join, when you join your two table together, everything will looks like coming from the same database. So now I have this is my order, this is my order table fields or dimensions, and here I have my returns, you know, returns fields or dimensions and measures, right? So now, that is how it's coming. So for example, if I have to, let's say, if I have to understand how many returns happens for this categories, okay, so I can just bring that returns count, or maybe I can just bring that here. Maybe what I can do, I'll go here and I'll use that measures. When I do that, then it turned out to count. So I can see if 1 1 1 one one return has happened. So that's how I can see that returns for this many. And this is the count D. So let me not take count D. Rather, what I will do, I will take count, because count D is like distinct, right? Maybe everywhere there is a yes only. So all yes, it will treat as a one single. So it's giving me just one value. But now when I took the count, when I took the count, now I can see that how many returns happen for each of these three categories. So I can see 710 returns has happened for categories. Okay, and that is the reasons when we'll do the analysis, you will understand how it's impacting the overall profitability.
So Ritesh, I have one question here. So if I want to calculate the total return count
Hmm.
for in the region wise,
Okay,
total return.
yeah, sure, yeah. So what I can do, I can bring that reasons, and I can bring that reason here. Okay, so now I have categories and reason both. You just want to have reasons, so you remove that categories. Now you got this reason wise. So reason wise return, you can see west return 490 count, south return 69, east return 149, and central return 92. So this is again a bar chart which representing, and here you can make a descending order. So now this will come in a more, in a chronological order. So it's like looks more good. So here at least you can also you have a comparison. So this one on the left side is the highest return, and followed by west, followed by east, then central, and then south. South has the least return. So maximum return happens on the west zone. Okay.
Mhm.
So using after doing this join, see I'm able to analyze the returns numbers. Earlier, if I would have not joined the return with my order, that field returns will not available in order table by itself. So for that we have to join them together, so bring all data together so I can do some extra analysis or some analysis which actually I wanted to conduct. So that's the reason I joined, and now bringing that here you can do a lot of research, right? You can see like reason wise this many product this many order has been returned for each of these four reasons.
So this return means you're giving the count, right? I just want to know the sum of the how many total number of count
Total
has been
sales for total sales happen for total sales has been returned, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so perfect. So what I'll do, I will take my sales. Okay, so this is my sales value. So in the same example, likewise come here, in the same examples here, or I think this is 35. Yeah, or maybe I can just explain this to you. So here itself. Now what I'll do, I'll bring my return and I'll filter here, and I provide on this filter. So I have yes or null. So null means where there is no matching records, when there is no matching records. But when I say yes, you see here, So now I got the value returns sales value. So this many sales value. So 107,000 value worth of sales has been returned in West Zone, and 41,000 sales value was returned in East Zones, and Central 14,000 values was returned, and South 17,000 returns. So that way you can also look at the sales value which was returned. Okay, just you have to bring that onto filter, and you would be thinking, you'll be amazed, then what about this nulls, right? So look at your data, come to your data source, and then here you will understand what exactly going on, because there are many, you have all orders, we have done this happens actually a left join sort of thing. So this is like a Tableau default AI engine automatically performing that sort of agree sort of join between these two tables. But uh, to show you the vivid vividly to show you vividly like how datas are joining and coming together, i'm going to I'm going to use the old fashion of join. So that's where I can show you data into data source, into data preview, and how datas are coming into the preview. So let me just give me a moment.
So that's what I was asking here, Ritesh, that whether we can get all the data here in this preview only with our return table and the order table here in the same preview.
In the same preview, it is not showing. That is what in the same preview it is not showing. But then
Okay.
you need no need to worry. Tableau will taking the left join by itself. That was that's what I have observed, because there was null values coming in, and those null values are nothing but corresponding to all order ID where there was no return. When there was no return, because if you look at my return table, it has just order ID and yes. If
Yes.
order ID has returned, any returns has happened for that order ID, then there is yes. And
Yeah.
if that there is no yes, that means that order has not returned, that order was successful. So when it
Yeah.
will match with the order, when the return table will match with order table, it will match
Yeah.
basis on the order ID, and wherever my order ID, order tables order ID and returns table order ID matches, that
Yeah.
all will have the return. And whenever there is no matches, so all remaining order ID in my order table are those order ID which are have successful. There is no return so that's the reason there is a null value coming corresponding to return.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I think I have put on the extract. So extract, when you queries on extract first time, it takes time. So just
Yeah.
bear with me. Let me
My
show this to you.
my time also it was taking too much time. And because but the way you have done your bar graph now, I am for my bar graph it is showing some different result only. That's why I was asking you this question. I've already published it. That I'll share you with the link. Then you
Sure,
can
sure,
see.
yeah. Yeah, you can do that. You can create a public profile. You can keep putting whatever that you are learning and whatever you are doing. Maybe what you can do, extracting, loading metadata. So what you can do, you can put it on the Tableau public and share your link with me. That way also I can look into your work, or maybe you can put your workbook. You can on Google Dropbox, whatever way that you feel like. I think the best way is like just putting on the Tableau public profile, so that maybe later on when you learn everything, you can clean your profile and you can keep nice dashboard only. But
Yeah.
the timing, yeah, there is no harm that putting your work there. So it's taking time. I'm just canceling it, but I can,
Yeah, Ritesh,
yeah.
actually, I also want to ask, can we save this workbook on our local desktop?
Yes, yes. See, uh, first time when you when you save it, it will go and publish to the public profile. But from the public
Yes.
profile, yeah, from the public profile, you can download it and you can save and you can have in your local machines. So for example, let's say I'm going to my Tableau public profile.
Yes, I've shared you my public profile. I'm
Okay,
sure.
okay, I can see, yeah, got it. So here, so for example, uh, if I want to download this, here is download options we have, and when I click download, this workbook will download in my machine. But for the first time, you cannot save directly to your machine. Now you see that I got this into my machine. So first time when you are downloading it, you cannot just save in your machine, especially in Tableau public. And that is what some of the differences we have from the license version and public version. But then it is not something that hampering you to learn. Still, you can publish to your uh, public profile, and then from there you can download and you can keep into your machine. So that way you can do. Rohit, your public profile is opening. Let me
Yeah.
see. Okay, perfect. I can see that. Let me go to through this.
Might be wrong also, Ritesh.
Hey, that's okay, man. We are just learning, so there is nothing wrong, right? Everything is fair because unless unless you try your hand, uh, we can't be perfect, in the beginning. It takes little time. Even for me also, it has taken time. So
Yeah.
everybody learning takes time, so that's completely fine. So perfect. You have bring the quantity for different
Yeah.
reason
So
and for the sales for the different reason. Perfect.
I just want to know whether my this was correct or not.
Well, I
The way
can
I'm using.
confirm this. Yeah, yeah, I can. Oh my God, it has stuck now. Okay, let me open a new uh, Tableau workbook. Meanwhile, it's loading. Just give me a minute. I'll be back. Hi guys, I'm back now. So So this is still that cancellation is going on. Maybe I have just opened a new workbook, and I'll just start from here. So yeah, since we are just learning the this visualization technique, so let me open my workbook. Any other issues anyone was facing? Meanwhile it's loading, we can discuss if anyone were facing any other issues. Okay, so I'm bringing my order here. What happened? Yeah, and I'll also bring my return table. Now, actually, you know what? By understanding at the data, Tableau has created a left join. Okay, because I observe into sheet where I saw null values were coming. That means I'm getting all my records from order table, and wherever there is no return, then corresponding returns will be null, right? Because there is no returns profile attached to those order ID. So you see that in my on basis on the order ID, you see the relationship is many to many, and the related fields are order ID from order tables and order ID from the return. So here, if you see that order ID from return, so wherever there is a yes, that means that order has returned, and I think only we have yes. There is no, because if there is a return, it has just given yes, and if there is no return, then that order ID will not exist right here. So let us go to this sheet here, and I have this categories, and I'll bring this category subcategory together. I'll call it as a product. And now let me just show you that we were just talking about the first chart, bar chart. Okay, and now I will have my cells somewhere here. So this I'm getting a vertical bar chart because I put categories on the column. So column is vertical. I got my vertical bar chart, and sums being aggregated for each of this vertical. Now you said I want to see what was the return value, right? Return value. You bring that return here from the return table. You see that return field dimensions I'm bringing for the return table, and I'm putting on the filter because I want to filter it by return value only. Okay, so null, where there is a no return, so it will turn out to null. When there is a yes, you see that I just have one yes. Okay, single values in return field, and that is only I have yes. So I'll apply. When I apply it, I got the sales value which has been returned. Okay, and now if you want to look those by one more dimension that you can bring reasons, you can bring like categories and reason together. So for now you can look at, hey, for furniture, what is the return profile for all these four reasons? For office supplies, what is the return profile for all these four reasons? And you can create a descending order to put them into order. Now you got into a order descending order, so you can see West has the highest return across all these three categories, followed by east, then, and yeah. So furniture, even south is the third ranker, and here the central is the third ranker, and here again south. So you can look at the across categories, across regions, what is the return value. So now we are looking at the return value, okay? And other visualizations, when I wanted to have um, just the return count, then we can just have like categories, and if I bring, so here also you see that return count I have. So this is a default field coming from, it's loaded by Tableau itself for each of the table when you bring it. So here also by doing that, I can see the count of return. Okay. And here also return also, if I bring that right here, this also will give the same things. So it is okay. So it has that it is a categorical field because it has yes value. So yes, Tableau will not understand what do you mean by yes. So yes, it understand it is a dimensions, but then I want to count this number of years, then I can just go here from dimension, I can go to measures and I can just select the count. Okay. Now you see that, okay, so this, the first bar chart, column bar chart, I'm getting for this return, and the second is I'm getting for this return. So this returns is like I said, every time whenever you load data, Tableau provides one default field which has the count of all the observation, all the records that you have in your data, in your table. So like say in order table also I have order counts, in returns also I have return count. So this count is nothing but it gives you total number of counts what you have in your table. Okay, so I bring that default count loaded by Tableau, so that even giving the same number what I am actually measuring by going to turning it to measure and count. Okay, so even if it is a dimensions, but I can go to measure and I can count it, because measure you can count, right? I mean, like I said, dimension you can count, dimensions are distinct and you can count. You cannot do a sum or something like that. So for example, um, returned, so return is my dimensions, and here you see here I don't have sum, right? Why I don't have sum? I have only minimum maximum count distinct. Why? Because the nature of this data, nature of this field is categorical. Okay, when it is categorical, that means it's a dimension, and obviously category, can you sum only category itself? Right? Furniture, office supplies, technology, can you sum it? You cannot sum it because it's a qualitative data, right? You will only sum the numerical data. So numeric, it is not a numerical data, it has just yes value. So I can only count the number of years. I can say the maximum number of years, or minimum number of years, or I can count the distinct number of years. Those things I can do measures on my categorical field or my dimension. So when you turn your uh, dimension to continuous, then measures will be only the four measures you will have it. Okay, you will not have some average, standard deviations, etc. Those you will get only for your actuals numerical fields. Okay, so like for example, when I will bring my sales, then I can have all those characteristic attached to it. So for example, when I'm bringing, so now the third graph that you can see, this is for the sales. So in the third graph I will have everything. So I am having sales value. So when I go to measures, now I have all those, mathematical operators, sum, average, median, mode, etc., standard deviation, variance, right? So that is the major difference when you change dimensions from dimension to measures. So but because this is my dimension, return is my dimension, but when I change from dimension to measures, I this here continues. So when I turn to discrete, it become dimension again. It's become a dimension again. I'm getting yes. Okay, but when I put it to continuous, now I'll have my count, and like I said, continuous are your measures and discrete is your dimensions. So am I confusing you, or is it okay? Tell me, like I'm giving you more information. I just keep on going. So yeah, so that is the options you have. So discrete attached to dimensions and continuous attached to your measures. So whenever you turn any particular dimension, you want to count the number of it, then automatically Tableau turns it to continuous, and then and then you will have these measures available. Okay, but then even if you turn to continuous, if you turn a dimension to continuous and you want to make it measure, then only the four measures will be available. Okay, so that's how you can do that.
So like continuous with dimension you said, right?
So
Continuous with dimension and discrete with measures, right?
hey, no, 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 no. That is like exactly opposite you are saying.
So discrete will go with dimensions.
Exactly. Discrete go with dimensions and the measures are continuous.
Okay.
Okay. So discrete means what? Distinct values. Distinct value which you can count, right? So if I say, hey, I have five chairs that you can count, all five chairs are distinct. Okay. But if I say I have, you know, I have like, 100 liters of water, can you go and count each drop of water? Each drop of single drop of water you cannot count. So understand like this. So those 100 liter of water that I have in a vessels or somewhere, that is nothing but it's my continuous data. So continuous data are so close attached to each that you cannot count them. Okay, you can only sum by liters, how many liters it is. So how much cells of sum of cells you can measure it. You can only measure it. You cannot count it. So that is your nature of your measures. Measures are only you can measure them by sums, average, you know, those things. Using those things you can measure them. So for example, when I go to measures, this is my measures, and look at those measures. When I turn to count, it will go back to your dimension, I believe. See, okay, so though I mean, uh, no, it is into continuous only, but then since it is a measure, so I have count also, everything also. But when I convert particular dimensions to a particular dimension, a categorical field to continuous, when I turn to continuous, then I have only these four measures available to a particular dimension which are converting to measures. Only these four measures will be available. So continuous and dimensions, you can just understand in one line. Continuous is that you are not going to count, you are going to measure them. And categoricals or dimensions, categorical fields are called dimensions. So you can see Tableau bifurcate even two parts. So you can see here, so all blue colors, these all fields are blue colors. So wherever the globe, that location field, the ABC alphabetical fields, all are my dimensions. And up to here are my dimensions. There is a fine line, right? If you can observe your fine line, underneath the fine line I have all the hash which is with green color, and this all hash is nothing but my numbers, and these numbers are nothing but my continuous field. Okay, these are my continuous field, these are my distinct field or discrete field or dimensions. Okay, so that is why when you bring that continuous field here, you will have all the mathematical operator, sum, average, etc. Here you will not have sum, average, etc. mathematical operator. Even if you turn them to count it, it will go and change to continuous, but only will have count distinct, minimum or maximum. Only these four you will have. Okay, so I hope it's clear now. But then there are something overlapping in Tableau, so don't get confused on all those things now. Just keep your mind clear for the future learning, and don't get yourself confused there. Just keep your mind clear with the only thing is like dimensions are discrete, and all measures are continuous. And continuous where you do some mathematical aggregations like sum, average, etc. And Dimension, you don't do any such things. Dimension, you aggregate their corresponding measures for these dimensions. Okay, so yeah, so we learned about this bar chart. So bar chart, we were just trying to aggregate the sum of sales for across these categories and the reasons. And we have bring the return, and we wanted to look at only those values belongs to return. So these are values that values this amount of sales has been returned. So that means the organization is not making these sales. This is our loss, right? This has gone back to customers. So this is sort of, you can consider them as a loss, because here we are losing this business. So this is our return. If I remove that return, then you can see the total values, total sales. So now there is another thing that we can do right here. So for example, when I say, hey, how much returns value is of total percentage? Okay, so for
Ritesh,
example, yeah,
uh, sorry to interrupt us. Can you go to other public profile so that which are made on basis of the
okay,
quantity?
okay, Kunal. So okay, so you have sales here. So you don't have actually, okay, 725, 678. I think you're right. Your sales value looks right to me. So for example, when I remove that reasons, so yeah, seven. These are my, okay, let me remove that return. Okay, 742,000. Okay, you have across this reason, right? So let me bring that reason. Okay, 725, 458, 725, 458, correct. Is 678,000, 678,000, correct. Yeah, all are correct. 501 and this 391. 501 and 391. Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah, if I can turn this to descending order, yeah, it will come exactly like yours. Now you have the quantity. So let me bring that quantity here. So yeah, I think this is also correct. Here you have 12,266. Yeah, 12,266, 10,618, 8780, and 6209. Yeah, absolutely correct. So Tableau will not give any error if you are just bringing your original field on this canvas. It will not give you error, because like I said, you're not doing any aggregations, you're not doing any mathematical writing any code or writing any functions by yourself. Tableau itself doing this aggregation for you. So when Tableau itself does this, there is no way that it can go wrong unless your data itself is wrong, right? So
Okay.
no worry about that.
Okay.
Hello, Ritesh.
Yeah.
Just one query that how to bring values like this, display it. Can you show it once again?
uh,
Like here, they haven't displayed the values like the total sum, the total sales value. Like
Total
in
sales
this
value
bar
you
graph,
want.
it's one
Okay, total sales value
one six.
Mhm.
Yeah, how
Please.
you have displayed it? Could you show it once again, please?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, here is the hide marks label. So you just turned
Okay,
off and turn on. So you want to turn on,
okay,
turn off. You can, using this, you can do that. It's very easy.
got. Thanks,
Okay,
thanks.
no problem. So now let us see. I wanted to show you some more angle attached to it. So I'm bringing my return here, and now when I select return, this is my join tables. So now I got my returns value, right? I got my return value for each of these categories, and underneath their reasons, this is my return value. Now my question is, hey, I want to understand what is the return value. So for example, 34,000, how much percentage, what is the percentage 34,000 out of total West sales under furniture? So how can I get it? So let me write, well, I don't want to go to calculated field for now. I just wanted to show you, give you overview. But I think this is okay. Let me show you calculated field. That is, it won't harm you to learn this calculated field. So here I have this calculated field. In this calculated field, I wanted to get, you know, return sales, return, what is the percentage contributions of returns out of total? So let me call it as a percentage return value. Percentage return value. That is what I'm going to calculate. I can give any name, any fancy name, whatever you want. You can just your wish. It's not stopping you to write any name. And now I am this. Don't worry about this calculations. Okay, I will teach you in depth about whole idea of this calculation, but I'm just giving you an overview. So for example, I wanted to get my return percentage return value. So how can I do that? I have to aggregate my return sales. So if return is equal to yes, then sum of sales, okay, end. This is my end say function. That is how it works. It says cannot mix aggregate and non-aggregate. Okay, so let me remove the sums from here, and this is fine. Okay, and now what I'll do, I'll divide this by total um, total sales, sum of and I'll write this here. Okay, so now this is perfect. So what I'm doing sum of sales where there is a return and dividing it by sum of total sales, irrespective of returns or anything. Okay, total sales. So that's how I can get my percentage of returns value. So when I'll hit apply and OK, using that, and I'll bring that onto measure. Instead of having sell of sum of sales, I'll just bring it right here. Okay, so now I got this decimal things. So let me turn this back to go to format, pane, because we are looking into pane, and now I'll bring that to percentage. When I do that, now I can see my returns. So I can see like 47% of my sales was returned for in furniture and in region called West, 51% furniture East, 5% central furniture, 20% south furnitures. So if I just have to look at my categories return, so like I can see the maximum returns happened for the technologies, and if I wanted to look at just by my reasons, I can see uh, create a descending, and now I can see the 57%. The 57% of out of total sales value was returned for West, and 37% from East, and 17% from South, and 8% from Central. Now let me validate this. Now I have done this calculate field. So now I should validate it whether my numbers are correct. So how I can validate? Let me create another sheet. Okay, let me create a fresh sheet. Here what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring that category, and now I'm going to bring my sales. Okay, and now I'm going to look at returned. First I'm going to look at return, and then without return. Okay, now I got this is my returns value, return sales value, right? Now let me create a duplicate of it. So here I have options called duplicate, either from here or right click on the sheet, and here also I can create duplicate. So why is the duplicate? Because it saved my time, right? What I have to do, I just have to remove that. So now I got my total sales. So this is my total sales value, and this is my return sales value. Now come to Excel, take my first take my, or maybe take this first. Let's validate for technology. So technology sales is 72708. So let me uh, return value. for technology, how much it's showing. It's showing 72,708. Okay, this is my return value for technology. Now total value, how much? This page has total value, so I can just rename this, like, since we are learning, so we should know everything. This is my total value, and this is my return value. Okay, so I got my return value. Now I'm writing my total value, 836,154. 836,154. Okay, so this is my total value. Now if I have to create whatever the percentage of return value from the total, just what I can do, I can divide this return value by what? By this total value, and look at this percentage. So this number I got, I turn this to percentage. This is 8.7%. Okay, and how much I'm getting here? Um, yeah, so let me remove that. So I'm getting, am I getting the same numbers? No, right? I'm getting very wrong numbers. And the reason being, here the calculation is not doing the right thing. Okay, so that's how I can validate it. How I can go and fix that? Because I understand this is a problem of uh, different level of aggregations, and not different level of aggregations, different level of details. Different level of details, because when I have my returns yes here, so that is not actually going and getting me all the values which are uh, irrespective of returns or everything. So you see here technology its return is just 8.7%. Here technology is coming 37%, which is pretty high. So now you know what, I how I can fix that. There is a way to fix that. I'll give, so don't worry about this. You know what, I'm just going to keep this because this is a very advanced topic when we learn about the calculations, and there we will be learning all this LOD functions. Using that LOD function, this is a case of LODs. Okay, this is a best case of LODs which I will be covering when I'm going to, first I'm going to introduce you the calculated field, and when I will introduce to the calculated field, there you will learn about this LODs things. So for example, for now time being, I'm going to fix that by writing LODs. I'm not going to explain this to you guys very detailed, so I'm just going to write. So this I got my returns corresponding to yes, but here what I'm going to do, I'm going to write, I'm going to take irrespective of everything, and I'm going to take yes. So um, maybe I don't need this colon. So what errors I'm getting? Cannot mix aggregate and non-aggregate. Okay, and so let me put that aggregated here also. Okay, and since it turned out to LOD function, so I have to remove it and bring it back once again. Yeah, there you go. Now I got this right. Now what I'll do, I'll just change this format percentage. Wait, something going wrong here. Seventy-two, 708. So 72708 that is my return sales, and this is my total sales. Okay, and yeah, so something is, let me fix this. Okay, I'm fixing this as returned, and here sum of sales. Okay, and here I'm fixing it at categories and sum of sales. Okay, unless my formula is correct, the condition is valid is turning out. When my formula is correct, it shows condition is valid. When I do anything wrong here, it will be throwing me some error. Okay, so now, so now I'm dividing this by these things and dividing it by, so how much I'm getting? 21% for technology. And now here, this is 8.7%. I think this is absolutely correct because this we have done it manually, and here we are doing this by, so let me do one more thing. Let me write if returned yes without LEDs, and then so please bear with me. So this is like something we are just experimenting it something, so we are like uh, okay. Okay, so let me remove this whole part and just look at how is my returns yes sales it's giving me, it's whether it's giving me right or not. First let's validate this. So what I'll do, I'll just go to number format and I'll get my numbers, number customs. So here basically, okay, so is it giving me same value? No, and that is the biggest problem. It's not giving me same value. It's giving me wrong value even in this label itself. So what I can do, let it be here, let it be return here, and let it be sales of sum here. So I'm going to use that sum of sales divided by fixed categories and sum of sales. Okay. Now, actually, I have to select this one. Yeah, yeah, there you go. I got it correctly. Okay, so this one I'm just keeping it for the calculated part. So now you see, I got my return percentage. So this is my return sales. My return sales is 72,000. Okay, and what is the percentage total? For total, from the total sales, it is just 8.7%. So you can see here 8.7% what we got from this Excel calculation. Same things we are getting in the Tableau also. Okay, so you know what? I achieved this by writing LOD functions, and I'm not going to explain the U for now because now in this class we are only talking about visualizations. So here, this is my LOD functions where I have my some of sales value. This sales value, I'm dividing it by the category sales. So irrespective of this return. So using this damn LODs, I can just tell you in one line. Using this LOD, we can make our calculation independent from any filters that we have applied. Okay, we can make our uh, when I'll talk about calculation, maybe I will talk about details how actually calculations happen in this visualizations labels or this table labels. So those things are like there are so many things to learn over there. So you will learn about LODs, will learn about table calculation, quick calculations, and normal calculations and LODs calculation. Using those, we can achieve a lot of things, a lot of analysis. Okay, so that is how I achieve my percentage value for returns. So percentage is 8.7% out of total, and this is my returns sales, and here is my total sales. So from 836,000, the return value was 72,000, and in terms of percentage, this is 8.7 total of 836,000. So 72,000 is 8% of 836,000. That is what it gives you the meaning, right? And that way you can see, hey, how much percentage of value was returns. So I can say, I mean, 8% or 8%, and this is like close to, if I just bring it to one decimal point, so it will be like more accurate. Roughly we can like, so I can just, instead of two decimal, I can just put one decimal. So I can see this is 8.7, this is 8%, this is 6.8. So the least return happened into office supplies, and then you can also analyze the same things by going to reason. So if you just want to analyze the reason, you can see, hey, this reasons where I have 14% return here in this 14% return for West, and the least return we have in Central, just 1.9% total sales was returned. So this is okay. Here I got very high return. Okay, so in this reason, maybe I need to figure out what is causing this to high return, right? So there is another level of analysis that we can perform over there, but then that is later. Now our whole objective is to learn about this different chart types. So I'm going to pick up another chart type. which is um, so let me first select. So bar chart, just my intention is to just make you understand about the bar chart. No calculations, don't focus on the calculations for now. Don't focus on this high level items which we will be discussing in our future classes when we'll finish all this visualization technique, and then we will be learning the calculations, writing formulas, different types of formulas that we have, everything in very much detail. But I'm going to talk in details only this chart type. So I have covered this bar chart. So using this bar chart, basically you are going to make comparisons between the categories. Okay. So what is the use of this bar chart? I did everything, but I didn't talk about the applications where you are going to use bar chart. Well, let me talk some couple of minutes on this. So basically, bar chart is good when you want to make when you want to make comparisons across that dimension items. So for each members of a particular dimension, when you want to bring them together to make a comparisons, then bar chart is the very good candidate to do that. So for the comparison purpose, it's one of the best chart that you can, by providing a bar chart, it's so easy, it's so intuitive and distinguishedly we can tell, hey, West is the best, West is the worst, right? Because this is looking at the return. So here is the highest return, so I can say West is the worst and the Central is the best because I have the least return, right? So basis on my analysis, I can say which one is the best, which one is the worst, which one is doing good, which one is not doing good. So all these comparisons we can do using the bar chart. So bar chart always used for the comparisons. When you want to compare between the member items, use the bar chart. Now let us learn about other chart type. Uh, I'm just going to open another chart type. For example, um, line chart. So when I'm going to use the line chart, look at the requirement. It says you know one date field, and you can have no dimensions or you can have more dimension, any number of dimensions, no limit, but you should have minimum one measures value. Obviously, when you want to create a line chart, you're gonna have at least one measure, right? So that measure will only show on the line chart. And date is the mandatory because what is the line chart? So let me say talk about this line chart. So okay, so line chart basically it compares data over different time period. So to make it more simple, if I say if I have to show some trend over a period of time how something is going on, whether it's my sales value. So if I can say over a period of time, over different years and months, if my sales is doing good, performing better, or if it is going down, if the trend is going down, if the trend is going up, or if it is a flat. So that way I can compare my sales value on different timeline. Okay, I can compare like this month to previous month, or I can compare this year to previous years on the line axis. Line will be on the x-axis, so on x-axis I can compare, hey, during different time period, how was my sales? Okay, so let me just create that line chart for you. So I have categories and sales, but then also I need to have one date field that is mandatory. So I select order date. The moment I select order date, see it turn out to active, right? If I don't have order date, so if I don't have order date, let's say I just have categories and my um, sales, this line chart is no active because it says you need to have one date field minimum requirement. So I select date, moment I select date, it's active now. When I hit line chart, see I got my three line chart because I was selected categories. If I remove the categories, I have one line chart. So this one line chart, it is showing on different years. So by default, Tableau will aggregate by years since it's a date field. And here the granularities and the drill down options already available since it's a date field. Tableau recognize, hey, it's a date field and it is all data points, all date points. So Tableau automatically creates a drill down options for me. I can go and drill down to the quarter, months, week, or a day. Okay, see here. So when I drill down, it's turned out to quarter. So for each across the years, it's aggregating at the quarterly label. when I want to go back to months, so now it's actually I'm getting data aggregations of data point on line chart for each of the month, right? So I can see, hey, this is a May, this is a June, this is a July, September, August, September, October, November, and December. Okay, Jan 19, Feb 19. So I can see, hey, different time months where my sales going up, going up, down, up, down. But then if you look at the secular trend across the timeline, it looks like, hey, it's going in upward directions. It's going into upward directions. Though the latest trend, it has been down, but then if you don't look at the small time frame, but if you look at the overall time frame, you are able to see a upward direction. Your sales is improving gradually. Okay, though there are fluctuation in short term, but long term there are a very clear cut trend. By using that trend, if I can provide a trend, this is the advanced topic again, but I'm just going to give you an overview. If I put a trend, linear trend, you can see that linear trend how it's going. This is a regression line. Well, I'll talk about regressions, etc. in advanced topic. Maybe I will explain you in better way, but then just to understand, it's so easy. I mean, to create this aggregation line, I have to write bunch of lines in Python, and I have to create a statistical regressions line, and then you know and then I would be getting this line. But then now here in Tableau, it's so easy. I just drag this trend line and I drop it here, and I got my linear trend line. It's showing the cells, R squared value, the p values, etc. I will talk about those R squared p values when I will talk about this regression line and this advanced topic. But for now, you can see the trend, how it's going. So it's just an overview for you. Okay,
Ritesh, how did you make that trend line? Then you go, can you
your
show me
voice
once
is
again?
not, okay, let me increase my volume. Yeah, please speak.
How did you make that trend line? Can you show me again?
Okay, so here by default, we were only on the data pane, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
you see next to data pane, we have analytics.
Analytics. Okay,
Click
yeah.
analytics, you have this trend line.
Okay, okay, got
You bring the trend line on this canvas. Here we have linear, exponential, polynomial, etc. So whatever you want, let's say I want polynomial graph. So I can see like polynomial is the different functions. So the nature of this polynomial is like it going to show you all the movement in the data.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is like you can see your trend is like little fluctuating, but it's going upward direction. But when I do linear trend, so it will give me a linear trend, how the linear trends look like. Okay.
Mm. Nice.
So we'll talk about all those things later. I'm not going to cover this because it will be confusing for you guys. But just this is just considered as the overview for your future classes. Uh, but here the whole idea is to learn about the whole idea is to learn the line chart. Okay. So this is my line chart. Now I have this. I can go to weekly level. So weekly, when I say weekly, it will be very noisy. When I go to date, it will be too much noisy data because each data point I can see here. Okay, so see, I have this is 5 year data, and all 5 year data I'm putting into one single canvas. So it's not, I mean, it becomes very cluttered because you are going to look at 5 years data into a small screen. So obviously it will be cluttered. But when I provide you a sort of uh, slider where you can choose your start date and end date, then you can narrow down your view and you can make it more clear, like how the trends in a particular time frame. For example, when I do a right click and when I say filter on date, so now I have a range here. So even if I want to provide range from here, so I can select from this calendar, or I have a slider here. So I can choose this slider and I can change this date accordingly. Well, for now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to apply as it is. I'm going to take the full date range, whatever it has minimum and maximum date, and I'm going to apply and OK. Now from here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show this filter. Show filter to make interactive. So using the show filter, you can create an interactive filter so that user can interact with this filter and user can decide how much time period he want. Now I have this date calendar. Now you can choose any date from this calendar. You can You can click this next, you will get to next month, next month, next month. All these options here, you can choose whatever date that you want. Let's say I want to go to 2019 directly. So what you can do directly, you put your cursor here and backspace, and I can mention it 19 manually. So now it's go to directly to Jan 2019, this calendar, right? And if I can take from Jan, so now from 1st Jan, and here I have all the way up to December. Okay, but still this is a week, this is the daily data. But if I want to look at the monthly data, so from here also right click, and here you have like four things: year, quarter, month, week, day. So you can choose month. When I choose month, so now I'm getting only my monthly sales value. So monthly value, the value will be aggregated for each of the month. Okay, so this is my Jan total sales. This is my Feb total sales. This is my March total sales. This is my April total sales. This is my, June total sales, July sales, and so on. You would be a little bit surprised then if you have this year, quarter, month here, then what is this about? Again, you have this so many same field here. So what is the meaning of this? Well, this is your, like I said, date field can be continuous, can be um, uh, discrete also. So you see here when I have this I'm selecting from here, 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 then my continuous are default. But when I turn from this month to this month, see what happened. It will change to discrete. Okay, and I'm not getting my year value along with this. I'm getting, and see, look at the colors. Color turn out to be blue color because blue is for discrete or dimension. When I say the discrete, you should assume I'm saying dimension. So it's turn out to discrete, nothing but dimension. So this is like when you want to put the data as a dimension, then you can use this. Okay, when you want to keep your data as a continuous, then you should use this. So when I use this month, I'm only getting month name of the month. I'm not getting year along with it. Okay, and that is how it treats in Tableau. When I change back to continuous month, then I will be getting month along with that their corresponding years. So, and that will be more visible when I remove that clear filter, because I have chosen only for 2019. That's the reason 2019 it's not visible here. But when I clear this filter, now you can see that year and you can see that month. When I change it to, okay, so here what happened here, it has been selected from 16 to 19. Okay, and when I just look at here, when I change to this month, discrete month, okay, discrete month, when I choose from this month, the top one from this portion, this four, year, month, quarter, date, so it's become discrete. When I choose from this four one, then it will become continuous. When I have discrete, then I'm not getting my year values, I'm getting only the month values. When I change now to this month, then it will be continuous. And see the example also saying May 2015. Here it's showing only May. So you can also figure out by that. When I do that, now I'm getting that monthly sales value. It's giving me year and then it's giving me their monthly sales value. So that is what I mean.
So
I should keep it continuous because I want to create when you want to create a trend line, you should keep it continuous. I will show you some of the places where we need to, due to some requirement, due to some customizations, we wanted to have it as a discrete. There are some different use cases for that, and that for a reason Tableau has given you flexibility whether you can change it as per your requirement. So whatever requirement that you can customize it according to your need. But then, yeah, so Tableau has provided these options open for the
Ritesh,
users. Yeah, please.
yeah. So for if I want to see only the 2016 data, only the 2016. So in that case, we can make it as a discrete way. So that in that case, it will help, right?
Yeah. So yes. So in that case, if you just want to have 2016 data, let me show you some more, you know, aspect of it. So order date, I will not bring the filter from here. What I'll do, I'll bring that order date. Since this is my order date only, right? So I'll do one thing, I'll bring the order date and I'll put it on the filter. When I'll put it on the filter, I have so many options to apply the filter. So it says range of date, years, quarters, month, etc. Okay, so when it is when I select range of date, then I'll be getting the same options like what we had. Okay, so you see this, we got this range of date. I can provide the range of date like what options we had already applied, but I don't want to do that. You said I just want to filter for particular year. So when I select again, I'm putting that to the filter. Now I have a years column here, years. So I'll choose years next. Now I'll have all distinct years now here. So I can apply. I want only 2016 data, so I choose 2016, apply. Now this month will be aggregating, will filtered for this 2016, and I'm getting only 2016 data. So
Yeah.
exactly, it's the same things. So see, it's the same thing. Like you said, I mean, when you wanted to have 2016, so see, they are turned into blue colors because we are looking only for that particular years. So yes, either way you can do that. So yeah, so this is the line chart. This line chart is nicely representing your sales in the year 2016. And when you want to bring this into as a filter, show filter, make it interactive for the users. So now I have users, I'm providing this, hey user, you can select what years you want. You want 2017, you will get 2017 sales. You want 2018, you will get 2018 sales. And you want to look at the 19, you can look at the 19 sales. There are different options that you can format this filters. Like we have like for now it is like multi-value select. Okay, because I can also look at 2018, 2019 together. I can also look at 2017, 18, 19 together, or I can choose one at a time. So that is called multi-select options. Now, if you want to select single value list, you can have a radio button. Now, one at a time, you can have a radio button. If you want to format this to single value drop down, so one drop down at a time, so you can select from the drop down, you can select just one value, and the drop down options pop up, you can select just one value at a time. If you want to have some more options, so multiple values list like what we had already by default, and then we have multiple values drop down again. So this is like a drop down, but then you have multiple options to select multiple values at a time. And then we have something like multiple values custom list. So here you can just go and type whatever that you want. And then you can write. That's not a good way to, I don't use this multiple value draw custom list. I don't like it. I used to have either single value drop down, I mean, or slider also. We have the date single slider, you can see here. So now you can have the slider options. Okay, whatever value that single year that you want to use by the slider. So now I'm looking at the 2016 sales. I can go to 2017 sales by clicking here. Also I can move my years. Okay, maybe multiple values drop down. Now I can provide you apply button also. So here customize, you go to customize. Here I have show apply button. So here now, remember like when we were changing our we were changing our ears, then at the moment it was disappearing because the moment you still uncheck it, it become disappear unless you again check it back. So now that will go away when we have apply options here. So even if I have uncheck everything, it won't turn back, it won't disappear because I haven't applied. So if I apply, it will it will invisible. But yeah, even if I have checked, it won't appear back, but I have to apply. So now everything becomes dependent upon apply button. So apply is okay when you want to have multi-selects and you don't want it to be uh, super fast. You want to get the values depending upon when you want to apply. So these are the different options that you can play with. So yeah, so formatting of your filters. So using that, you can provide an interactive filter for the users and you can choose what format, what style of filter you want. So yeah, I think that's all for this video because we have already covered this 2 hours and I'm open for this question. So let's discuss if you have any questions so far. So some of advanced topic calculation I shown you, trend line also I shown you. I just gave you some hints, some overview about it, but then don't worry about that part. We'll be talking about them in later sessions in detail. So line chart and bar chart. If you have any question, you can ask me, or else you can try from your end. You got the data, you have everything. Just try to create this line chart and bar chart and just put it on your public profile and share that link with me. I'll go through it and I will get back to you with the feedback. Any questions? No questions? All right. Perfect.
Ritesh, you'll be sharing this recording on YouTube, right? The
Yeah,
same like the last one.
I'll be doing that. Let me stop that recording right now.